anybody of any size, shape, strength, fast, slow, can play.
Heads.
Heads it is. We're checking the ladies to see if they have a front cleat. Front cleats are illegal in rugby.
He will call the cadence. It's touch, pause, engage.
You have to flow out because you have to assume they're going to get it to the wings.
I don't understand it.
These guys are young. Listen, we can take them.
1, 2, 3, go!
Driving.
Nice! We have everyone from paralegals to teachers to a surgeon on the team. Get her, get her, get her!
It's a very technical game.
22, Milwaukee!
In this game, it takes everybody working together to move the ball down the field.
Inside, there you go, again!
Forward! You cannot play this just as an individual. It takes individual skills, but you get nowhere if you don't play as a team.
Go to Mel, go to Mel!
There's a lot of running. It requires a lot of physical endurance.
9, you're on the ground, release the ball. Line out or scrum.
A really good scrum.
Engage.
You come out of it and you're tired.
Touch, pause, engage.
It is indeed a contact sport.
There's no pads and it gets pretty violent.
That's a nice hit, that's the way.
It's definitely worth it. I mean, you don't feel it at the time. You just keep going. The more physical, the better.
It's part of the game, you know, getting some war wounds.
They have one collapsed arch.
She has a mild concussion, would be my guess.
But it is really fun to take down one of the backs, one of the little fast girls, and just put her down.
We don't grow up playing football, you know, like the guys. So when we have an opportunity to get out there and be really physical, we take advantage of it. And I found that a lot of women really like it.
39-0 for Indy women's.
Good job, you guys.
It just takes a lot of guts. That's what it takes.
On the White River, an absolute biological disaster. Signs of warning.
We, in our minds, are asking, how can this happen?
The waters here, silent, still, and deadly.
It disturbs me a lot.
Chuck McNeely, who's fished this river since he was a kid,
I think my biggest concern is whether we're going to be able to get all that out of here that they dumped.
wonders why anyone would want to poison it.
I think you ought to fess up to it, whoever did it, because I'm sure they know who it was.
Pour river water into a sample bottle.
Zero headspace.
And it looks clear. The fish kill toxins seemingly gone.
We found no detection of carbon disulfide in the river, and that's been for several weeks now.
It's the best way to get up there.
But working with our partners at the Indianapolis Star.
You're going to do VOC, E. coli, and then PCB, general.
We hope to learn what fish kill compounds may still be in the water.
In the days after the fish kill, state environmental investigators began naming suspected chemicals. DMDK, used for breaking down metal in wastewater treatment, and something called carbon disulfide. But even now, authorities admit they don't really know what killed the fish. It remains a White River mystery.
The chemical that they suspect, the carbamate compound, there's no readily available EPA methodology to do the testing for it.
We hired ESG Laboratories to collect water samples at 5 river sites.
We're looking for volatile organics.
On the river, in the lab, checking for E. coli, PCBs, metals like mercury and chromium.
We really did not find anything shocking.
After 3 days of tests, ESG found its readings at or below normal.
We didn't indicate a lot of difference. In fact, many of them were not detectable either above or below the treatment plant.
Did you want a shirt or a sweatshirt? Both? Want a beach?
At Schwartz's Bait and Tackle, the chemical all clear is good news. But owner Lori Schwartz still sees a river empty of fish.
It's going to take, not weeks, months, but years to get it back. All the wildlife, the habitat, the fish, and people's awareness.
It's pretty sad that that kind of thing happens.
Well, the identity and origin of a toxin capable of creating a 35-mile kill zone is the focus of a federal investigation.
Whatever is out there will be flushed away with high water, for one thing.
Ball State biologist Tim McComish is looking below the surface, the river floor, the sediment called the benthic zone.
Before the river can come back to life, we certainly have to have these organisms present.
These tiny creatures, mayflies, crawfish, riverworms, some visible to the naked eye, others only through a microscope, are nature's fish food.
If there's a problem, they will recolonize the area where they now might have a void or at least the population's depressed.
What state scientists want to know, and aren't sure of, is whether these organisms could survive the kill's chemical assaults.
Much of it is in the sediment and remains dormant throughout the winter. We won't know for sure until spring when the critters come out and resume life.
State inspectors sound confident of finding the fish kill source before spring, when an experimental restocking effort will begin.
Hopefully someday it'll be the same as it was.
Darlene Captain knows that sounds naive, but she says simple justice might be a start.
We're also hoping that if we can find out who actually did the damage to the river, that they be highly fined.
But in the meantime, repopulating this damaged river could take 3 to 5 years.
It's definitely a tragedy.
It is the view of some a harsh lesson on nature, paying for man's mistakes.
We traveled to where the rubber meets the road, Akron, the city that put the tires on the wheel that drove America to its heyday. Goodrich, Firestone, Goodyear. Like the Midwest Auto Belt itself, glory days are in the rear view. But there was always a constant here.
1934, over and over.
Fair Finance, a firm that meant returns since 1934.
It's on my mind. It's on my mind 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Although I've been told not to ruminate about it by professional people. Donald Fair was a reputable man. He had been in business since 1934.
About 1934, he started it quite by accident. This is Petey. Petey.
This is Fair Finance. His name is Donald Fair, with Petey, his rescue dog. In his basement, a replica of his father's office. Fair Finance was his life. Fair is his name. He's the millionaire next door, and this is his first TV interview.
What did you think? Oh, I was heartbroken. I was fearful that something was going to happen.
Before that, 2001, the aging Fair looked to sell his firm, and along came Jim Cochran and Tim Durham. Did you have any reservations of Tim Durham?
Not at that time. I was impressed with him.
And who wouldn't be? If appearances are everything, Durham was everything. So retired Deputy Don Russell, a lifelong cop, went all in. Everything.
Everything. Life savings. That's 35 years of scrimping, buying with coupons.
He was unaware that Fair had a new face, promising payouts north of 9%. 1934, he said in his head over and over, his $350,000 saved in life, and his mother all in too.
I said, Mom, they've been in business since 1934. They're going to be solid as a rock.
Solid as a rock. As our investigation continues, the earthquake hits, and Mom...
She was like somebody I'd never seen before. I couldn't believe that she wouldn't let this pass.
That after the break.
Oh, it's definitely a luxury.
As Tim Durham was tripping over himself to get on TV.
At the end of the day, when I breathe my last breath, I'd like to be worth more than anyone else in the world.
So they say. Slobbering about greed dreams. The money kept coming, though, until Mom rang.
And she called and said, the FBI raided Fair Finance yesterday. I remember thinking it was the worst feeling I'd ever had in my life.
Their names are now reading glass font, from Apple Creek to Orrville to Worcester, where horses have a place at the courthouse. The only grimace you'll hear from the Amish victims, a clippity-clop of life with less. And then there's Mom, Mrs. Russell, with her sweeping do they called the fantasy long ago, a woman who quilted for missionaries and lifelong florist.
She was like somebody I'd never seen before. I couldn't believe that she wouldn't let this pass.
The night she discovered her $125,000, money from the family farm, her life was gone. That night, she went to the hospital.
Where she stayed for 29 days and literally willed herself to death. And she passed away December 23rd, 2 days before Christmas.
He went to pick up Mom's ashes, the crematorium on East Market Street, doors down from fair finance, like a cinder block into the life they'd pictured. Our interview with Don alone.
She's been forced to work more as a result of this.
His wife, a flight attendant, is back to work. All told, the Russells lost $475,000. Russell's parents and grandparents' money, his kids, both expecting grandkids. $475,000, 5 generations.
I'm buying them more as pieces of artwork.
The amount of this one car, Durham dropped 500 grand on this Tucker, the net of 5 generations of Russells.
You want to see how Tim Durham's living now?
I'd like to.
We sent Dave Barris to L.A., where Durham still has it all, a life of prawns and bunnies. Playboy, that is, and his pad.
$25,000 a month. Wow. He shattered some lives. He shattered my life.
And his deceased mother, healthy, a whippersnapper at 82 until the raid. Doctors couldn't quite diagnose it, though. Dead in 23 days post-raid. Finally, COPD, maybe. Chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. Like it took her breath away. Forever.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.